AITA for taking out a loan in my wife's name without telling her, just to help my brother? I know how bad that sounds. Believe me, I do. And if you're already thinking, yes, you are, I don't blame you. But please, hear me out. My name's Mike, I'm 34, my wife Emily is 32. We've been married 6 years. No kids yet, though we've been talking about it on and off. Financially, we've been doing okay. Not great, not terrible. We both work full-time jobs. I do IT support for a local insurance firm, she's a dental hygienist. Nothing fancy, but we pay the bills, and we've managed to put some away for a house someday. That was the plan, at least. Now, my brother Jake. He's 28, and he's had a rougher time. Dropped out of college, worked odd jobs, had a stint where he tried to be a crypto influencer, don't ask. Lately, he's been trying to open a food truck. Says he's got the perfect concept, Korean-Mexican fusion, heavy on the Instagram marketing. He's charismatic as hell, people love him, but when it comes to money, the guy's a train wreck. About 8 months ago, he came to me with this super emotional pitch. Said he just needed a bit of help to get started. He'd already raised a chunk through a friend and a crowdfunding campaign, but he was still short $15,000. Said he couldn't get approved for a loan himself because of a few dumb mistakes on his credit. And he looked me in the eye and said, "Mike, you're the only one I trust to help me make this happen." Here's the thing. I didn't want to say no. After our dad passed a couple years back, I've kind of felt this pressure to be the guy who keeps the family together. Jake's not a bad person. Just impulsive, he always means well, and part of me thought, if this works, he could finally get his shit together. Maybe even pay me back quickly. So I started looking into loan options. The problem was, my credit isn't great either. A couple of missed payments back in my early 20s still haunt me. And with how inflation's been, banks aren't exactly feeling generous. I got rejected twice. That's when I made the decision. Emily's credit is near perfect. She's meticulous with money, always paying bills on time, checking our credit reports, filing taxes early. And she trusts me. She never questions where the money goes. I manage our finances day to day, which is how I was able to pull it off. I applied for the loan online using her info, just enough to get approved. I forged a digital signature. I told myself I'd pay it off before she ever noticed. I figured I could make the monthly payments out of my own account and she wouldn't need to know. And for a few months, it worked. Jake got the money. He sent me excited updates, pictures of the truck being painted, his first Instagram post, the logo. I felt good, like I'd helped him do something meaningful. He even cut me in for 5% of the future profits, which I didn't ask for, but appreciated. Emily didn't notice. There were a couple of moments where she said things like, "Why is the savings lower this month?" or, "Didn't we have more in the joint?" But I'd wave it off, blamed a car repair, or said I moved some into a different account. She didn't press. The first payment was $387. I paid it on time. Then the second. By the third, things got complicated. Jake's truck broke down 3 weeks into launch. He'd bought it used, cheaper up front, but a lemon. Repairs ate through what little cushion he had. Then came the health inspection delay, then some issues with the location permit. It was like every week, there was a new problem. He stopped sending updates. I had to chase him for texts. The payments were coming out of my checking account like clockwork, but he wasn't paying me back. I started to dip into our joint savings to cover the gap, just a little. Told myself it was still temporary. Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025 12:05, then, one Tuesday, I got a voicemail from the bank. They were concerned about a missed payment, and wanted to speak to Mrs. Thompson about options. My stomach dropped. I knew I'd forgotten the payment. It was a rough month, I had to delay my paycheck transfer. But now they were calling her? I deleted the voicemail and called them back from my work phone. I tried to get them to talk to me, but of course they wouldn't, because the loan's not in my name. I hung up and just sat there at my desk, sweating. I felt like a goddamn criminal. Because I was one, technically. Identity fraud? Yeah, probably that. And still, I thought I could fix it. I didn't tell Emily. Instead, I scrambled to find side gigs. I picked up weekend freelance work fixing computers. Sold some old electronics. I even tried to guilt Jake into sending me something, anything, to cover the next payment. He Venmo'd me $200 with the note, "More soon bro." That was a month ago. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I know what I did was wrong. But it came from a place of love, right? I wanted to help my brother. I wanted to keep it off Emily's plate so she wouldn't stress. I didn't think it would blow up this badly. But now I can feel the ground cracking beneath me. She's starting to ask more questions. She's more distant, and if she finds out? If she sees that letter the bank sent? I don't know what happens then. Okay, so remember how I said I thought I could fix it? Yeah, that was the last time in my life I truly believed in my own bullshit. After the missed payment, I scrambled hard to make up for it. Took on more side work, skipped lunch to answer Craigslist ads for tech support help needed, sold my old PlayStation, even considered dipping into Emily's emergency medical savings account. I didn't, but it wasn't because of morals. I just didn't have the login. Jake wasn't much help. He ghosted me for 2 weeks straight, then popped back up with a 3-paragraph message about how he was so overwhelmed and trying to stay positive. He attached a photo of a half-finished taco with a caption, "Crispy bulgogi in a handmade tortilla." Tell me this isn't money, bro. I wanted to throw my phone out the window. But I still kept paying. Even borrowed $500 from a high school buddy under the lie that I had a dental emergency. I was patching holes with duct tape while the hull filled with water. And all the while, Emily was right there, starting to notice the leaks. "Hey," she said one night while brushing her teeth. "Our savings account is at $4,200. Wasn't it closer to $6,000 a few months ago?" "Yeah," I said without missing a beat. "Remember my car's alternator? That cost more than I expected." She nodded but didn't look convinced. Just went back to brushing like it didn't sit right. That became a pattern. Little questions. Small hesitations. She started asking for more details about our budget. Usually she trusted me to run things. She doesn't enjoy dealing with numbers, and I always said I'd handle it. But now I could feel her pulling at threads, trying to see if something was unraveling. And something was. I finally broke down and called Jake, demanding answers. He answered on the third try, sounding groggy. "I'm not trying to screw you, Mike. It's just bad timing. I had to switch commissary kitchens. The permit guy was a dick. The whole scene here's corrupt, man. I don't give a shit about your permit, Jake. I took out a loan. I'm drowning." Emily's starting to notice. He was silent, then said, "I'll figure something out." He didn't. Then came the letter. It was a Friday. I got home before Emily, and as usual, grabbed the mail. There was the usual crap: ads, a water bill, some credit card offers. And then there was this envelope. Thick, off-white, with our full names typed cleanly on the front. It had that look, like it came from a lawyer's printer, not a bank. I opened it, and there it was. Notice of civil action, default on personal loan, claim amount, $14,211.38 filed in Emily's name. Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025, 12:05. I stood in the kitchen reading it 5 times, heart pounding so hard it felt like it was shaking my vision. This was it, the end of the illusion. I had no way to hide this. It was addressed to her. If I threw it away, they'd just send another. If I tried to lie, I'd have to lie harder. Bigger. Riskier. I don't even remember when she came home. I just remember her voice from behind me. "What's that?" I turned around and must have looked like a deer in headlights. She didn't wait for me to answer. Just walked over, took the letter from my hand, and started reading. There was a full 10 seconds of silence after she finished. Then she said, "What the fuck is this?" I tried to speak. Failed. Tried again. Look, I was going to tell you, you took a loan out in my name?" Her voice didn't even sound angry yet. Just, stunned, quiet, like she didn't even understand what she was saying. "It was for Jake," I blurted. "He needed help. He couldn't qualify. I thought I could pay it off before." She took a step back. "Before what? Before I found out you committed fraud in my name?" "It's not fraud." "Yes it is," she snapped, louder now. "Mike, that's literally the definition of fraud. You forged my information. You faked a signature. You lied to a fucking bank. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did." The rest of that night is a blur. She didn't scream or cry. She didn't throw anything. She just shut down, packed a bag, said she was staying with her friend Natalie, and walked out. I followed her out to the driveway, begging her to talk, to just listen, to let me explain. She looked at me once and said, You lied to me every day for months. I don't want to hear your voice right now. And then she was gone. That weekend was the longest 2 days of my life. I didn't sleep, couldn't eat. I checked my phone every 5 minutes like an addict. She texted once, "I'm okay. Don't contact me for now." I sat in the dark for hours, just cycling through every decision I made. Where did I go wrong? Was it the moment I hit submit on the application? The second Jake asked for money? Was it when I started lying about the savings? Or maybe way before that, when I decided I needed to be the one who holds the family together, no matter the cost? By Sunday, I was panicking. I called Jake again and left a voicemail. Then another, then a third, no answer. Finally, I texted, "She knows. I'm fucked. You need to help. Now." No reply. Monday morning, I woke up to a knock on the door. A courier handed me a second envelope. Inside was a letter from Emily's attorney. I didn't open the letter right away. I just stared at it. Cream envelope. Embossed return address in the corner from a local law firm I'd never heard of. My name on the front. No, Mr. and Mrs. this time. Just me. I knew what it was. I didn't need to read it. Emily wasn't just mad. She wasn't just hurt. She'd gone legal. I had crossed that line. The one where it stops being about feelings and starts being about facts. About what can be proven in court. About what can ruin your life in ways you can't charm or explain your way out of. Still, I opened it. Because of course I did. It was short, professional, ice cold. "Please cease all direct contact with my client, Emily Thompson. Further communication is to be directed through legal counsel. You will be receiving notice of legal action regarding fraudulent loan activity, identity misuse, and marital asset mismanagement. We advise you to retain an attorney." There it was. No begging, no discussion, no, "Can we talk?" Just war. I sat on the couch for probably an hour, just holding that piece of paper. I couldn't move, couldn't even cry. It felt like everything that was mine, my marriage, my home, my future, had been scooped out and replaced with a cold, hollow nothing. I called Jake again, straight to voicemail. I texted him, "She got a lawyer. I'm completely screwed. Call me back or I swear to God." I didn't even finish typing it. He never replied. Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025 12:05 that night, Natalie, the friend Emily was staying with, came by to get more of her things. I recognized her knock. She didn't come in, just stood on the porch with a cardboard box and a cold look in her eyes. She asked me to get her passport and some clothes, she said. "And the wedding album." I froze. "Wedding album?" She nodded. That hit harder than anything else. The idea that she didn't even want our memories anymore. That the photos we chose together, laughing over takeout on the living room floor, were now evidence in a trial neither of us had wanted but I had created. I let Natalie in. She didn't speak except to ask where specific things were. I wanted to ask her how Emily was, but I didn't deserve to know. I watched her collect a part of my life into a cardboard box and walk out. The next day, I got served. It's funny, TV makes it look dramatic. A guy with a badge slapping papers into your chest and shouting, "You've been served." In real life, it's just a quiet man in khakis asking for your name, handing you a folder, and leaving before you finish saying, "Yeah." Inside were the formal charges. Fraud, unauthorized use of personal information, civil damages, request for a financial audit. The paperwork included screenshots of the loan application, dates and IP addresses, even a copy of the forged signature I'd used on Emily's behalf. They had everything. I called a lawyer. The consultation alone cost $250. He didn't sugarcoat anything. "You're in serious trouble," he said, flipping through the packet. "If this goes to trial and she pushes for criminal charges, you could be looking at jail time. Not just a divorce, not just debt, jail." I asked him what my options were. "Hope she settles, and start liquidating whatever you can." The next few days were a blur. I moved out of the bedroom and onto the couch. I canceled streaming services, started selling anything that had resale value, old cameras, unused gadgets, even my guitar. I couldn't afford pride anymore. I was trying to scrape together enough to hire a defense attorney. Through all of it, Emily didn't reach out. Then came the mediation date. Her lawyer requested we meet in person, to explore settlement possibilities. It was held in a neutral office space, one of those sterile conference rooms with fake plants and a ticking clock that somehow gets louder every time the silence drags out. Emily walked in 15 minutes late. She looked different, like someone who had just burned down her old life and was already drawing blueprints for a new one. Cold, composed, dressed sharp, no makeup, no jewelry, just clean, efficient, and unreadable. I stood up when she walked in, like some instinctual thing from another life. She didn't acknowledge it, just sat down across from me and opened a folder. Her lawyer did all the talking. Mine tried to respond, but it was obvious who held the cards. They offered a deal. I take full financial responsibility for the loan. I pay her $15,000 in damages, plus her legal fees. In exchange, she won't pursue criminal charges. It felt like getting punched through the chest. I don't have that kind of money, I said. Then maybe you shouldn't have committed fraud, she said. First words she'd spoken to me in weeks. That shut me up. The lawyers negotiated for another hour. Eventually, we agreed to stretch the payment over 4 years with monthly installments. I didn't even have a job lined up to make those payments, but I said yes anyway. It was either that or risk jail time. As we left, I tried to speak to her. Just 1 second, just to say something. Emily, I said, I know sorry doesn't mean anything right now, but, she turned to me. Do not ever say my name again. And she walked away. That night, I packed up everything and moved into a crappy 1-bedroom sublet on the edge of town. No furniture, just a mattress and some boxes. I sat in the middle of it, lights off, and tried to imagine what my life had been just a month ago. A wife, a future, a maybe someday family, all gone. And Jake? Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025 12:05, still no word. I got fired the same week I signed the settlement agreement. They called it downsizing, but I knew better. I wasn't exactly hiding what was going on, coming in late, skipping meetings, staring blankly at my screen like a zombie. Word gets around. HR gave me a severance check for 2 weeks' pay and a handshake. No hard feelings, they said. I walked out with a cardboard box of office junk and sat in my car for an hour before driving home. Home. That word didn't mean much anymore. My new place was a converted garage with no insulation, a busted heater, and a roommate who never left his room unless it was to microwave taquitos or play Call of Duty at full volume. The mattress I dragged in was still on the floor. I hadn't unpacked the boxes. My severance wasn't enough to cover the first payment I owed Emily under the agreement. I used it anyway. Then I started calling temp agencies. They sent me on 2 dead-end interviews for IT contract gigs. One of them ghosted me after promising a callback. The other said I was overqualified, and that I seemed emotionally distracted. I wanted to laugh in their faces. Jake still hadn't replied. I started calling old friends, guys I hadn't spoken to in years, asking if they knew anyone hiring. Most didn't answer. The ones who did gave me that cautious voice like they were waiting for the real reason I called. I lied, said I was between jobs. Nobody offered help. One night I sat in the dark with my phone open, looking at Jake's Venmo profile. His profile pic was still the same, him flipping a spatula over a grill, smiling. Caption. Hustle plus sizzle. I typed a message. You owe me everything. You destroyed my life. I didn't send it. I deleted it and just stared at his profile. I started to spiral. Bill collectors called every day. I stopped picking up. I checked my email and saw overdraft notices, subscription renewals I forgot to cancel, a LinkedIn message from a recruiter that made me feel like an imposter. One day I walked 4 miles to an interview because I couldn't afford gas. The guy who interviewed me was younger than me by at least 6 years. He looked at my resume, then at me, then said, honestly, this is a part-time position. You sure this is what you want? No. I wasn't sure of anything. I told him yes. He said he'd think about it. I never heard back. I started dreaming about Emily. Not romantic dreams, more like flashbacks. Sitting on the couch watching cooking shows. Her yelling at the TV during reality competitions. Her laugh when I tried to mimic British accents. Waking up next to her, those little moments of half-sleep where you forget what you did. Then I'd open my eyes and remember. She wasn't there, and she wasn't coming back. One night I actually broke down and drove past our old apartment. Her car was in the lot. Lights on, curtains drawn. I sat there for 20 minutes in the dark before driving off. I felt like a ghost haunting my own life. Then, finally, Jake texted me. Yo, sorry I been Mia, had to reset, shit got heavy, let's talk? It took everything in me not to smash my phone. Instead, I called him. He picked up on the second ring. Mike, man, I know I fucked up. I really do. I've been staying with friends. No Wi-Fi, just trying to clear my head. I didn't know things were that bad with you and M. You didn't know? I hissed. Jake, I'm being sued. I'm broke. I'm sleeping on a mattress in a garage. I'm making monthly payments to a woman who won't look me in the eye because of you. I didn't ask you to do all that, he said. You volunteered. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You begged me. I asked, yeah, but I didn't force you to steal her identity. I lost it, you self-absorbed piece of shit. I covered for you. I ruined my marriage, my job, everything, and you vanished like a coward. He went quiet. Then he said, I'm trying to get a new thing going. A partner, different truck, clean slate. Once I'm back on my feet, I'll get you something. I swear. I hung up. Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025 12:05. It was either that or say something I'd never take back. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't move, just lay there in the cold with that same sentence echoing. You volunteered. Was he right? That's the part that started eating at me. Not just the betrayal, but the idea that maybe this wasn't Jake's fault. Not entirely. Maybe I wanted to do it. Maybe I needed to feel needed. Like I was the savior. The one who could fix everything for everyone. Maybe this was always in me. That week, I got a notice from the collections agency tied to Emily's loan. Apparently, I'd missed a payment. It was due the same week I'd paid rent and bought groceries. I had nothing left to send. They threatened wage garnishment, except I didn't have a wage. I emailed Emily's lawyer, begging for a 1-month extension. He replied in one sentence. Our client is not interested in further negotiation. That was it. I stared at that email for an hour. Then I opened a blank document on my laptop. Titled it, Jake, Everything. And I wrote everything I remembered. Every transfer, every lie, every message, every time he promised to pay me back. I wrote it not because I thought it would fix anything. I just didn't want to forget. I didn't want him to get to forget. The last sentence I typed was, I don't know if you ruined me, or if I let you. I closed the laptop. I didn't sleep again. I didn't check the mailbox for 3 days. What was the point? It was always the same. Red stamped envelopes, final notices, reminders that I'd dug a hole too deep to crawl out of. But on the third night, I came home from a late temp shift at a warehouse job, and something about the way the mailbox stuck open made me stop. Inside was a new letter. Not from a creditor, not legal, no return address, just my name, written in familiar handwriting. Emily. I stood there in the cold for a while before I took it upstairs. Sat on the floor because I still didn't have a table. Held the letter in my hands like it might disappear if I blinked. I opened it. Mike, I don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe to say goodbye in a way I didn't get to. Maybe just to say I'm tired. I'm tired of lawyers. I'm tired of bills. I'm tired of trying to hate you. I don't hate you. I want to. It would be easier. But I don't. You lied to me. You used me. You chose someone else's crisis over our future. I don't think you understand how deeply that broke something. Not just in me. In you too. You tried to carry everyone, and you dropped us all. I hope you find a way to forgive yourself. I don't think I'm there yet. But maybe one day. Please don't respond. I don't need closure. I just needed to send this. Emily, I didn't cry. I didn't feel relief. I just sat there, feeling nothing. Not numbness, exactly. More like an empty room where a life used to be. The warehouse job ended after 2 weeks. Temp contract. The guy didn't even look me in the eye when he told me. I had $73 in my checking account and half a tank of gas. I spent most of that week eating dry cereal and instant noodles. The rent was due again. I didn't know how I was going to pay it. I thought about selling the laptop. Thought about leaving town. Thought about writing Jake one more time and threatening to take him down with me. But I didn't. Instead, I sat at the laundromat watching my clothes spin in the dryer, wondering how I got here. From a stable life, a wife who trusted me, a future that felt possible, to this. To being the guy who can't even make rent on a garage. It wasn't one decision. That's the part that gets me. It wasn't one mistake. It was hundreds of little ones. Every time I said, I got this. Every time I said, just a little longer. Every time I didn't ask for help. Every time I told myself Emily wouldn't understand, that I was protecting her. All lies. Lies I told myself because I couldn't admit I wasn't the guy the first wanted to be. Then one afternoon, the doorbell rang. Oleg Komarov, the 6th of March 2025, 12:05. No one ever visited me. My roommate was gone, probably couch hopping like me a few months from now. I opened the door and saw a courier. Plain uniform, clipboard, envelope. I knew that kind of envelope now. Heavy, sealed, important. He asked for my name. I nodded. He handed it to me and left. Back inside, I sat on the mattress and opened it. It wasn't from Emily. It was from the state court. A notice. Jake was being sued. By someone else. A joint civil suit filed by 3 separate parties. A vendor, a former partner, and a small business association. Fraud. Breach of contract. Unpaid debts. The total claim? Over $48,000. And somehow, my name was listed in the documents. As a previous financial enabler and witness to operational conduct. They wanted testimony. Potential liability. Subpoena optional. I stared at the page. For the first time in months, I laughed. Not a happy laugh. More like a broken bark from someone watching the building collapse again. Because of course Jake did it again. Of course he left more wreckage. And of course, I was still somehow tied to it. Even now, even after everything. I put the papers down. I sat there in silence for a long time. And then I did something I hadn't done since this all started. I went outside. No destination. Just started walking. Through the cracked sidewalks and rusted fences. Past old liquor stores and empty storefronts. I didn't know what I was looking for. Maybe peace. Maybe clarity. Maybe a place where I could finally let myself scream. I ended up at a little park. Deserted. Just one bench facing a field of overgrown grass. I sat down. I thought about the question I'd asked myself in that document I wrote. I don't know if you ruined me, or if I let you. I still don't have the answer. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we ruin ourselves all the time and just need someone else to blame. I closed my eyes. Just for a minute. Just to rest. AITA? For helping my brother and destroying everything else? I don't know anymore. You tell me.